Yeah, I get like very little time to, to do sadhana. I mean, whenever I get time to sadhana, like I steal time and then do it. So like, wish I can get, I can spend more time at it. That means I'll have to take a break from my job and then,
Okay, guess I'll get going.
Well, I mean, again, and I'm only speaking from my own experience, mantra is something that you can do and keep in touch with yourself with self no matter what the activity is. Then all the activity is occurring inside of mantra. Like I never, at one time at the ashram, I actually set aside a specific time for sitting and doing the meditation. And then after that, it was just, okay, I just concentrate on this mantra while I'm eating. I concentrate on this mantra while I'm walking. I concentrate on this mantra when I'm walking to the ashram, when I'm walking around India, when I'm walking back to my room. And then when I got back, on the airport, waiting in line and continue the mantra. The mantra is just keeping in touch with yourself with self continuously. I mean, literally continuously. And there is no, at least for my own case, I didn't set aside any time at all for meditation. It was meditation was now my full-time thing, and all the other activities were having time set aside for them.
But isn't it hard to do mantra while you're focusing on something, especially, speaking or...
Well, but see, there's going to be, at least for my own self, like right now, if there's a silence in between, then there's a concentration on seeing that mantra is just running very naturally and very nicely. It's with the breathing, and there's no need to like pay specific attention to it. Like Maharaj says, in the beginning, you have to take egoistic action and actually sit there and do mantra. But as far as like sitting, for my own self, I didn't do that. I did it one time, and I meditated for like, I think 45 minutes with some of the other guys right after we received mantra. And then as soon as I got up, I didn't stop, and it was beautiful because when I would go to the ashram and the hot water would be very, very hot, or the cold water would be very, very cold, or I didn't particularly like lunch or any of those things, I call it mantra through the experience. When I went to the hospital with the food poisoning, I mantra through the experience. When I was driving back late at night and it was raining and we were in India roads and it was just pouring down rain, you couldn't even see, but I was just concentrating on mantra, just breathing and concentrating on mantra. And then I literally, it's mantra through the experience, and then no experiencer is created because mind is busy with mantra.
And part of that is because you had already been doing a different mantra. You had a foundation sort of, I guess.
I mean, I read Selfless Self like everybody else, and it said, do this mantra. And like I said, I didn't pick Aham Brahmasmi. For some reason, I'm a little bit crazier in the spirituality. So I would Google, and I was doing these Mahavakyas every night. I would read these Mahavakyas and bow and then go to sleep. And then I started doing the Abhangas and bow and go to sleep. And then this yo sao soham hamsaha soham asmi became this mantra that somehow I pieced together from these different things of the Upanishads, and I just began saying it. And as I was traveling to India, I would sit and I would just start going yo so hum hamsaha soham asmi, and just over and over and over. And then even to the day when I was taking mantra, we were sitting outside and I told the guys there, well, I have this mantra that I've been doing, but of course I'm going to give that up right away for the mantra that Maharaj is saying. But that presence that I felt had given me that mantra, and I did that mantra until that presence that I felt was met in the form of Sri Ramakant Maharaj and said, this mantra is for you and it's finished. No more mind, no more ego, no more intellect. It's finished. Run the mantra. Enjoy your life now fully, because you're going to see that there's no deed, there's no doer, there's no experience, no experiencer. And it's going to turn up the heat a lot with the food poisoning and all the craziness that's going to go along with that, whether you take the touch of the world or whether you remain with your selfless self using mantra. And then liberation is there because the one that felt he wasn't liberated is no more.
what's going to happen now that so far there's nobody to give this secret mantra or pass on the Naam mantra?
Well, again, see, I can't say other than my own experience. And in my own experience, I was pretty much cooked and finished. And Maharaj just had to touch my head and say, it's finished. Just for mine to stop bothering that maybe it wasn't true. You know, maybe this presence that was completely guiding me, that seemed to be manifesting in my life in amazing ways and doing things for me that I absolutely couldn't do for myself. And even planning the India trip and all this stuff, and where there used to be fear of traveling alone, now I'm not even thinking about traveling. I'm just here enjoying myself in every moment. So I would say that the Maharaj says very clearly that the mantra, these are the words, but the idea is to invite the attention of the invisible listener. The idea is to impress the fact that you have full trust and faith. Full trust and faith that, yes, so that I. And now I'm the very next moment, so that I. When something happens and my mind starts to be bothered by it, no. You see, I'm the formless reality. I am Brahman. Brahman I am. Therefore, this little form thing, it seems troubling, but in reality, I'm not here. They're not here. Everything is formlessness. And this manifestation is appearing on my spontaneous presence. So to give it any kind of reality, I have to put the reality on it. By concept, by conceptual belief, I place reality over top of reality.
But the tendency of people that don't see that is that they need the mantra to get glimpses.
You have to touch that. You know, just like Nisargadatta Maharaj says, that I am, that sense of presence, you remain there and it teaches you. Because that is yourself, and it's just unwinding all the knowledge, all the body knowledge, all the body pressures are just unwinding. Because in reality, like Maharaj says, except your selfless self, there's no God, no Brahman, no Atman, no Paramatman, no master, nothing is there. This something that we're speaking about is appearing in the nothing and will then return to the nothing. And in this body form, you can know yourself in a real sense so that this disappearance won't be any bothersome to you, just like a dream you're waking up from. Because you're formless. You're not form. You are not body. You were not body. You're not going to remain the body. Body is not your identity. You are invisible, anonymous, unidentified identity. You have nothing to do with the body, and the body has everything to do with the world, and you are not a body. Therefore, the world doesn't really apply to you either. And yet, you're here, so do your job, do your duties, but don't take the touch. There's no enemies, there's no hatred, there's no envy or jealousy of any people because it's all yourself. You just have to know all of this. This body is an object in consciousness. All these bodies are objects in consciousness, and consciousness will eventually leave because consciousness is feeding on the idea of being a body in a world and manifesting in this way. And when there's no life force, there's no juice left in this body, the body's buried or burned, but you're everywhere. You can go nowhere because you are everywhere in everything. You are formless presence. When Maharaj says to remain with your selfless self through the meditation is so that you know. And like Maharaj says, the mantra is not like some secret thing or some big, huge thing. It's getting in touch with your selfless self. That's it. Once you realize that selfless self, that formless sense of presence, that all of this is appearing on, then the form world loses its bite. There's nothing. What? What is the form world going to do? It may seem very troubling, but it's only when I impart reality. I am reality, and my reality is imparted on something through a conceptual belief, and then that becomes the reality through mind, ego, intellect. It's not true. The unborn child has all these beliefs and ideas and concepts about itself, but it's not true. None of it's true.
Yeah,
and yes, go ahead.
I'm beginning to see that and understand it, but like Ramakant says, even these words and his words are all words and concepts, and you need the mantra or meditation to I don't know, breakthrough or whatever.
Erase the body knowledge, yes.
So,
And that sense of presence will do that.
Unless somebody's a lineage holder to pass on the Naam mantra.
No. See, this is going to be a big problem for you if you continue down this route.
Well,
oh my
I'm
God!
just wondering. Who is there going to be a lineage holder?
I mean, I don't know. But see, because you're still viewing yourself in body form, that's why you're looking for a body form master. Master is your selfless self, that internal master that's speaking with you. There's no difference between external master and internal master. Mantra is words that is concentration. Nisargadatta Maharaj used to just tell people to remain with the I am. The I am, the sense of presence. Dive deeply into that. And that will reveal all its secrets. Know yourself. Maharaj has said, you are the formless presence. You're formless. Before body, you're formless. After body, you're formless. Formlessness can't be cut, can't be divided. The only way that formlessness can be divided is through the idea of a body. When you believe yourself to be a separate body, then you'll see separate bodies. When you know you're not the body, and then it's just you're the holder of the body, then you're formless. You're absolutely formless. You're the dreamer. It's a long dream. Nothing is happening. No people are here. If you stop measuring yourself in body form, even for an instant, and you touch that you are, that's it. And the conviction is then to remain in that space with your selfless self and not give yourself away to the transient things that are passing in front of you. But don't create another concept of I don't have mantra, because Maharaj has answered this question while he was in body form many, many times. If you do not have mantra, you use Aham Brahmasmi, you use Soham, you use Shivoham, you use, there was another one, I am Brahman, Brahman I am. Whatever you're doing to invite the attention, to concentrate on your selfless self, whilst doing all of these worldly activities, because you're going to see there's no experiencer, no experience. There really is no activity. There's no deed, there's no doer. Because how can there be this way?
I don't know if that's emphasized enough in the teaching, though. He mentions the Naam mantra as being
okay. This is like I said, it's going to create a.
Well, no, I'm just concerned about new people that come to the teaching. You know, where are they? I don't know if it's stressed enough that you can use any mantra. I don't know.
There's no people. Only when you're measuring yourself in body form.
But the people that come to the teaching have to have something to relate to.
Again, there's only when you're measuring yourself in body form, you feel like there's progress. You feel
well, people that come to the teaching are doing that. They are measuring themselves.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
But then Maharaj there's so many videos out where he says, meditation is concentrating on the concentrator. He says so many times, it's not just sitting like this. And he even says this many times in the videos. You'll see him. He's like, meditation is not sitting like this. Meditation is spending some time for yourself, diving deep inside your selfless self and remaining there while you're doing activities, while you're doing all these things. I can only say that, yes, Naam mantra was very powerful because it was a finish, but the mantra that I was using while I was in DC, the presence was pleased because it was constant. Going to Maharaj and being on the plane and being in the airport and running that mantra, it was constant. Keeping in touch with the selfless self, the pure desire to know myself in a real sense. That's all that's needed. Earnestness and full faith and trust in the master. If the master said Shivoham is fine, any mantra that you're concentrating on, if you do not have the Naam mantra, and he has said that in many videos, you can go to ramakantmaharaj.us and Google no Naam mantra, and there'll be 7 or 8 videos where he can speak to you about what to do if you don't have this Naam mantra. If you're really truly concerned about it, then I'm guessing eventually, you know, somebody will be there in the lineage that can give. I don't know. I don't know how that works, honestly. But I would definitely not. I know Maharaj would would turn over in his grave, so to speak, if he thought that you were getting stuck on now a new concept that's going to birth a
No,
world.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm just concerned about others possibly.
But again, then others who will be led in their own way. I think Nisargadatta Maharaj says the Inchigiri Navnath Sampradaya is like a river and it just carries you along. If you're carried in that river, then that river will take care of you. See, just as you were in your mother's womb for 9 months and everything was growing and doing everything, it wasn't until you popped outside that you suddenly believed that you had to do stuff for yourself. While you were inside the mother's womb, the same one that's taking care of you there is taking care of you now. It's just that ego, mind, intellect is coming along and saying that I'm in a body form and I need to do things for myself. But this is not true. And if you remain with your selfless self, you'll see that this is not true.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the introductory. I mean, if we're going to focus on the use of mantra being one of the primary things to do, then for people with the introduction, it should be stressed that they can use whatever mantra, so that so they have somewhere to go.
And again, I believe if you're worried or you have people who are interested in this or whatever, have them go to Ramakant Maharaj USA. The site has, I think 200 videos now, all captioned. They can sit and enjoy and listen for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And in almost every video, Maharaj says mantra is words. Yes, they're powerful words, inviting the attention of the invisible listener. But any mantra, if you have full faith and trust in it, will do this, because it's just the mantra runs so that it keeps the mind busy, so that you, the selfless self, can see that this form world is not my reality. That these seeming actions and doership and all of this, doership is some kind of afterthought created that says, I did this. And with the mantra, or any mantra, and your mind becoming busy with this mantra, it can't register that I did this. Therefore, there's no experiencer created, and there's just formlessness moving about.
The faith
John,
sort of
yeah,
develops.
Yeah, once you get it, will it be crystal clear, John? Because this part is what, like, kind of like, I know I want to say, because when I say this, I use the word identity again, like there's no there's no one to get it, but again, for the sake of words. Once you get it, it's very clear that you lost your identity.
Yeah, nothing is there. Maharaj has said that so many times. You have to accept the reality. Accept the reality that this body is an object in consciousness, and consciousness will go away. And this object never was yourself. Because yourself is that formlessness, that formless sense of presence that you are the knower of, that all of this is appearing on. All of the form is not yourself. And the more that you put your foot forward, as Maharaj says, and move through understanding that I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain the body, and you remain with your selfless self, then you will still do your job and do your duties, but you're not taking the touch. Because as Nisargadatta Maharaj says, the body is the neighbor's child. If it gets sick or something, you take care of it. It's very sad, but you're not overly concerned. The body is the neighbor's child. And in reality, the body belongs to the 5 elements. You're leasing it for some time to kind of know yourself, and then that'll be finished. The formlessness is not doing anything. There's nothing happening. I know it believes you're happening because you believe that there's a body, there's in a world that has to do things, that's responsible for these things. And again, it's not like you just go to the Himalayas and chant mantra and live in a cave. Maharaj was very against that. He's against even the people who walk around the mountain 100,000 times chanting, because you don't have to do any of that. You're not a doer. Find your selfless self. Invite the attention of the invisible listener that you are. Accept your selfless self. There's no God, no Brahman, no Paramatman, no master. Nothing is there. The something that you are experiencing through body is illusion, absolutely, because you are formless.
It's the mantra that helps break up any tendencies towards dogmatism, too.
Well, again, I mean, the idea is just to remain with your selfless self, to invite the attention of the invisible listener, and to have full faith and trust that when Master says it's an illusory world, that the next time something seems like it's happening, it's reminded, no, it's an illusory world, it's not happening. I put forth the effort that's required in the moment, but I don't have to worry about it. I don't know about the outcome or what's going to happen. I don't need a mind to sit there and interpret what's going on. I remain prior to consciousness, prior to beingness, prior to any mind, ego, intellect stirring. Mind, ego, intellect is an instrument that I'm able to use and pick and choose the thoughts that are useful for you in the moment. But thoughts like, oh my God, I wonder what that person is thinking. Come on now. A, there's no thinking. B, there's no person. And there's nothing. So every time the thought process comes, just say, okay, there's no thinker. Thoughts are flowing. There's attention to thoughts where there needn't be. And there's a worry about others that are not in a world that is illusion. So now how am I going to worry about anything? I'm going to worry about others that are not and think using mind, ego, intellect that came along with the body, which comes along with the illusory world. What? Why? This body's an instrument. And with this instrument, just like when you, I think we talked about this before, when you buy things at Christmas and it says batteries not included, or this doll comes with boots and such, this lump of goo made up of the 5 elements comes along with mind, ego, intellect. But they don't have to be used. They can be instruments to be chosen and picked and used in specific moments, such as measuring something. Okay, like I was just, prior to this conversation, I was putting together this little zipper thing to hang clothes. I had to use mind, ego, action, reading instructions and putting them into action. But I didn't have to take the touch of anything. I just was putting together this thing. I did get a little frustrated at it several times, but it was very quick. It wasn't like, oh, I'm not doing it, because there's no touch. Because in reality, nothing's actually happening. The formlessness is, there's some manifestation moving about in the formlessness. That's why I think we talked about before, looking at the space where all the people are. If you're starting to become bothered by the people, look at the space and know that all these are objects in that space that you are, including the object that you're believing yourself to be. As Maharaj says, you are not body, you were not body, you're not going to remain a body. The body identity has to be dissolved. Body knowledge is pressuring you to believe you're in a body. Body knowledge is erased by mantra, keeping in touch with your selfless self, viewing the ideas that are not, like we just said, that, okay, what do I need to do tomorrow? And things like this. Excuse me. Nothing should draw you away from your selfless self. And the things that do, those are the I am somebody else that's kind of being created, and that's when you need to pay attention to that formless presence that you are. Inwardly seeing the outward projection, constantly. Inwardly remaining with your selfless self whilst viewing this outward projection and knowing that it's all coming from that spontaneous presence. It's all appearing on spontaneous presence. It's not reality. You're the reality. You're the reality that provides the illusion. That's why Maharaj talks about when you go down and you sleep at night, an entire dream world is projected. You see sun, moon, stars, you see the people, you can see stories going on, but it's your invisible presence. There's no form there. Even the form that you see and the form that you feel is formless. It has to be, because you're a dreamer dreaming. And it's the same. All of this form is just appearing on presence. The presence is formless. All these forms are appearing for a time, but they are not.
It seems like the purpose of the mantra is to bring you into presence. And presence is a state of no mind, because the mind is either in the past or the future. It's not present. So the mantra brings a silence to the chattering mind, and therefore you're present. And then the more present you are, the more that burns up the karma, which is why that's how the mantra actually works as far as cleaning up everything, because in presence there's no karma. So because you're outside of time, and you're also outside of the what do you call it, the me, or the constructed self. So, and there's actually nothing except awareness in that moment. And so therefore, when that grows, it sort of cleans up the, all the illusionary things, because it's the primary reality. So I think that's what the mantra, regardless of which mantra it is, the mantra's function is to bring you into presence. And presence is a state of, you're not present when you're in the mind, because the mind is always the past or the future. So when you're being present, that's what the mantra does. And then that also cleans up all of the karma, because karma is created when there's a me, when there's a somebody else. So when there's a somebody else, you're building up moment by moment. That creates the illusion. So that's the way I've been understanding it lately, is that the reason all that works is that, and it's not, any mantra can bring you to the state of the quiet mind and presence. And presence is what actually, is what's actually real, the presence of awareness. Does that make sense? It's a kind of combination of other teachings as well, from what I've heard. So I'm kind of piecing it all together. And I've had that experience myself, where the mantra just brings me into presence. And the presence is what is real. The what do you call it? The somebody else is not real, and it's also in time. So it takes you out of time and out of identity. It takes you out of identity. Because when you're in presence, there's no identity. There's just presence and awareness. That's just my experience. So I don't know if other people have that or not. The way it makes sense to me that you basically, the more you spend in presence, the more, and that's why you do the mantra all the time, because it keeps you in the state of presence.
Well, presence is not a state. Presence is...
No, presence is real. It's not,
yeah.
It doesn't come and it's yeah.
It only comes and goes when your attention is on other things.
Exactly.
It's actually not coming and going.
Exactly.
And the presence also will leave, because presence is an object in consciousness.
Yeah. But
The only reason you're feeling presence is through body form as an otherness that can feel something. But presence is an object in consciousness as well. It's kind of the final object to allow it to go, because presence is kind of the perfume of your own selfless self, to let you know, to draw the attention to the formlessness and away from the form state.
yeah, but the mantra brings you to that point.
Yeah. Well, the mantras, because it's not so much bring, it's everywhere, always. The mantra keeps the mind busy so that you can see and touch the reality,
Right.
rather than be carried away. It's not that the mantra really brings presence, but
Right.
the mantra erases all this garbage on top of presence that is always there, that can never not be.
Right.
So then the attention isn't going out to all the different things, it's remaining with the sense of presence.
Right.
And the I am, just as Nisargadatta Maharaj says, remaining with the I am. The I am is the sense of presence. Brahman, Atman, Paramatman, God, Master, all these are labels for your spontaneous presence.
Right.
And it's spontaneous because there's a no-knowing state. It's just I. So there's no knower created to know the sense of presence. It's just presence. Presence, pure consciousness, as Maharaj has said, with nothing.
Right.
There's no objects in the consciousness. It's just consciousness. Just I, just I. The sense of presence without anything added on to it, and without a knower of the sense of presence, thus spontaneous, invisible, anonymous, unidentified identity that you are.
Yeah, that you can keep coming back to, even if you do take the touch of something, then you can come back to that.
Yes. Yeah, in the very early stages of, like Maharaj says, the progressive steps, whenever there's anything bothering you there, you dive, even if the sense of presence is as small as a dime, you dive into that and don't pay attention to the world. Don't take the touch of the world, remain with your selfless self. Don't take the touch of the world, remain with your selfless self. And then it's not that presence grows, because presence is everywhere, all the time, in all things. It's that kind of formlessness, aliveness, pure consciousness, as Maharaj has said. And all of this other things are just objects appearing on that presence. And once these objects start to be cleared away, and there's not this seeing of, oh, I need to do this, or my attention's here, I can just remain with my selfless self. Then it becomes almost like situations, like you're like molasses, and some situation comes in, but it's very like slow. It's not really bothering or doing anything, and it's just going, and that's it. There's no like reaction of like, oh, this thing is happening. Or you could talk about like in the ocean, where you dive down deep, 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 and even if there's a hurricane or a tsunami up top, the ocean is completely still underneath, because all of this is arising on the stillness, on the silence, on the pure consciousness. Everything is arising from there. And then prior to beingness is prior to this I becoming something. This I am something. It's just I, formlessly aware, seeing and using form without taking any touch of form, because it's pure consciousness without any ideas, beliefs, or concepts about yourself. I'm looking up because I put a picture, a really huge picture actually, of Maharaj right there with his hands, and I'm really just looking, and the recognition and the projection, it's just it's powerful. But I may look silly looking up, so sorry about that. But I'm
you got
looking.
one in back of you too, and there's one in front and one.
Yes, yes. Well, the one in back, actually, let me see if we can. I don't know if we can turn around, but that.
Oh, I see.
And I just spilled the water all over my kitchen floor. Oh well.
Oh no, it's only water.
It's only water indeed. Formlessness.
Yeah, that's
yeah. So, and that I love it because I'm sitting here and at nighttime I do whatever and I'm just sitting here and I can get that recognition and the projection, just constant, just yeah. Although, yeah, I spilled water all over my floor. Oh well.
You get to clean the floor later.
Indeed. But see, and these are the things, the selfless self-devotion, it's the best. You know, and then it's in every moment. It's all of everything is arising in your spontaneous presence. When you're not thinking about yourself and you're not thinking that it's heaven, basically. There's just remain there. The main thing is to know, and Kathleen, if you're talking about touching the presence, then you know you're not body. You're absolutely not body. So you remain there. Any body type things happen. I remain with a sense of presence. I remain where all the world is appearing on.
Yeah, it has a way of like filling up all of the emptiness in a way. There's like, you know, because it's everything and nothing. So there is everything, you know, so it just fills in all of the space.
It's reality.
Yeah.
It's absolutely reality. That's the and there's no thinker, no thinking, no experience, no experiencer, no nothing. Nothing. And again, even the sense of presence will go because with the body form, that presence is an object in consciousness that's felt using body form and using consciousness. And when the body is, but see, that sense of presence will be leaving the body. And the knower of that sense of presence will know that the presence is leaving the body. So that knower will know that it is. You are. You always were. You will not know yourself because there will be no object of knowledge. But you know. You witness the presence, the sense of presence when the body form is no more. You're still able to use the body form to see the sense of presence as it's leaving. And then you know whether this body is here or not here, it makes no difference to the presence that I am.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Some saints like Ramana Maharshi apparently appeared to people. You know, he died in like 1950, and yet, you know, there was this woman who was, she's a teacher of some sort now, but she was in her bedroom and she was in complete despair. She said, if anybody knows anything about anything, please let me know. She was a state of complete, nothing. And Ramana Maharshi appeared on her bed, and this is what she says anyway. And it was very real. And she threw a pillow at him because she didn't know who he was. Mm-hmm. And then she was in a bookstore and one of his books just kind of fell out. And then she realized who it was. So, I mean, but he's done that. So that's a kind of a mystery, you know, how is it that a sage, a realized sage, which he was, you know, could then have some kind of manifestation. I don't know how that works, but,
well, again, and I know Maharaj has talked about the saints appearing and such and such. Yeah. It's because your selfless self has the ability to project the entire world.
Yeah.
So projecting some kind of vision or image is not that big of a great deal. You're projecting the entire world.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Selfless self, all these things that are appearing on spontaneous presence are known to be appearing on spontaneous presence. If Jesus were to appear in your living room, and Ramana Maharshi were then to appear in your living room, and Nisargadatta Maharaj appeared in your living room,
Yeah.
you, actually, the teaching of all of these guys would be, remain with your selfless self, that what you're seeing is absolutely illusion.
But it's also real because it's yourself.
Well, but it's illusion because it appears on your spontaneous presence, and anything that you're seeing is illusion. The
Right.
seeing itself is the only reality, not even a seer, because the seer is created that I am seeing this. This form is seeing something else. It's the seeing, just seeing. But everything that's seen is projected on top of your spontaneous presence. So that's why Maharaj has said, if some great saint were to come down, and Nisargadatta Maharaj has before said, you know, I'm not interested. It's why? That has to be the conviction that all of this is appearing on my spontaneous presence. Anything in form, even if Ramakant Maharaj, you maybe say, okay, would you like some tea or something like that, but not as a big deal. Not as like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here. No, of course, selfless self can do as everything. It projects the entire world. So to project one little person is not a big deal. But see, again, master is not the body form. And so the projection of this instrument believing itself to be a body form would need a body form. Just like in dream, you project that you may see saints or whatever in dreams, because there's the belief in being a form, even though it's a dream state, formless reality manifesting as form. The idea is that it's the same consciousness that's manifesting the dream state in form from formlessness as it is in the waking state manifesting form in formlessness. But not get carried away. Like Maharaj talks about, the good miracles, bad miracles, you know, good spiritual experiences, bad spiritual experiences, all experiences appear upon your presence. If your presence wasn't there, who's going to talk about experiences? Where are the experiences? What is an experience? Who is the interpretation of this experience? Were there any experiences prior to beingness? No. Are there any experiences after leaving the body? No. So experience is not the reality. It appears upon your spontaneous presence. If presence were to withdraw from this body has no more experience. I have the experience of a very wet floor, and it put on my pants too. Oh well. But hopefully everybody did get to see the picture, right? When I turned it around, you could see.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So it's a life-size picture.
Exactly. That's the coolest thing. That's, yes.
You had to blow it up.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Well, we had enough for tonight.
Oh, yeah. Sounds good. I can clean this water up off of the floor here.
I know, I can see that. The sooner you get started, the better.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
Manahar?
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you all.
And just remember, meditation is not separate from you. All these things are appearing in the meditation. Keep with the meditation.
Okay.
Sure, John. Yeah. Sure. Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Yeah.